Hello, hello, hello. I want to talk a little bit about monthly recurring revenue and the journey of building monthly recurring revenue, specifically high income monthly recurring revenue, because no one is talking about the journey of getting there. And the journey of getting there is truthfully very unsexy. The result, the end result, the 10,000, the 20,000, the $30,000 a month in monthly recurring revenue, that is pretty dang sexy. Don't get me wrong, but the journey of getting there is not. And it's hard to sell an unsexy journey when you're in marketing. And that's why a lot of people don't talk about it. But I want to give you the honest reality of building monthly recurring revenue. And so I'm going to give you a few examples of my students as well as my own journey. And I really hope that this helps you to truly see the compounding effect of going all in on offers, or maybe it's just one offer for you that builds that monthly recurring revenue, and the time frame of actually hitting these higher income months as you build monthly recurring revenue. Now, the first example is one of my recent students who joined into scalability. She came in at $0 a month in monthly recurring revenue, and she left our 2 week private onboarding, which every scalability student gets when they join. We do a 1 hour one-on-one call, and then you get 2 weeks of one-on-one with me to really just kickstart things off in your journey of scaling and being inside of scalability. So she comes in at $0 a month. And after those 2 weeks, she was at $450 a month in monthly recurring revenue. And that is just in 2 weeks. And if she continues to grow at even half that rate, so let's just say that she's growing at $250 every 2 weeks in monthly recurring revenue, that's still $5,000 a month in monthly recurring revenue within just 3 to 4 months. And that's on top of the payments that she has coming in that are one time payments, one off payments from things like selling guides and courses. And she's already making $3,000 to $4,000 a month from that. So she came into scalability because she hates starting off each day at $0. She was like, I have so much anxiety when I look at my phone and I have no sales. I see $0 on my dashboard, which at the time she was using StanStore. I converted her over to Kajabi, but at the time she was using StanStore, and she's like, I look at that dashboard when I wake up in the morning and I feel a pit in my stomach because I feel like I have to do so much in order to see that number go up. And if I don't see that number go up, there's so much pressure there, right? And she doesn't just feel that on a day to day basis, she feels that on a weekly basis. She feels that every single month because there's no monthly recurring revenue that is built up. So there's just a lot of pressure on her shoulders to make those sales. And most people, I think, will look at or hear me say, $450 a month in monthly recurring revenue. And you're like, okay, that's not $25,000 a month. That's not $50,000 a month. And you're not wrong, but you're also not right. The way that you're going to get to $25,000 a month in monthly recurring revenue, or $20,000 or $15,000 a month in monthly recurring revenue, is by going through the $450 a month in monthly recurring revenue. And I know that you know that, but I don't know if you actually know that. So that's why I am sharing that with you here and just reminding you that it is a compounding effect. Now, for this scalability student, instead of starting each month from scratch, she will build to the point where she's starting each month at $5,000 a month. And then any other sales that she makes on top of that are going to help her work towards those higher income months, like the $10,000 months, like the $15,000 months. And that is really what I want you to walk away thinking about from this episode, is what base of revenue you need to build so that you can hit those higher income months that you want to hit. I can promise you that if you had to start each month off at $0 because you have no monthly recurring revenue and had to build to $50,000 months. Actually, let me just say, if I had to do that, if I had to start each month off at $0 and build to $50,000 months, I would have to work 10 times harder, which would mean more hours worked, which also would mean that I would need to be leveraging paid ads at a huge budget. But with monthly recurring revenue, I can scale to high income months with ease. Now, that doesn't mean without work. There's still work involved, but it is a lot easier than if I were having to start each month off, each week off, each day off at $0. I am the queen of monthly recurring revenue. That is my bread and butter. It is what I'd say is one of my biggest scaling superpowers. And I will tell you that building monthly recurring revenue is not sexy. The build is unsexy, the end result is sexy. It is not leaps and bounds overnight. It is small growth each day. And it is way sexier to sell a one time payment offer and see a notification that comes in, or maybe multiple notifications that come in, and you check your dashboard and you've made $200, you made $300, you made $400 a day, than it is to sell a $47 a month spot into a membership, or maybe a few spots into a membership. But over time, there's only one that is going to continue paying you, and there's only one that truly stacks revenue. And I'm not saying that you should get rid of all of your offers that are one time payment offers. That's not at all what I'm saying. There is a place for both of those in your offer strategy. But because it is sexier to see that $200 come in versus one person joining a $47 a month membership, and I'm not saying $47 is what your membership has to cost or whatever, just as an example, it's way sexier to see that $200 come in. But if you can get someone to stick around for a longer period of time, that person that's coming in at $47 is actually worth more over time. Like if we're looking at average order value, average customer value, if you have a good retention rate inside of your offer, which you should. And that's another thing that we talk a lot about inside of scalability. And people ask me all the time, when I'm sharing my story, my journey, how did you scale to $50,000 a month in your first year? And this is how I did it. This is not sexy. I spent a whole year solely focused on building my monthly recurring revenue, selling the same offer, the same one offer every single day. And I truly mean every single day. I sold daily. I did not miss a day for an entire year selling on Instagram stories. And let me tell you, it was boring as heck. It was so boring selling the same offer over and over and over again. But let me tell you, it worked. I built IG University, which at the time was a $47 a month offer, to over $25,000 a month in monthly recurring revenue. And having that base to build off of each month is how hitting $50,000 a month was possible. Now, another example from one of my students, she's in my mastermind, and she had a 600%, yes, you heard me correctly, 600% increase in monthly recurring revenue since we started working together just under a year ago. And she's now hitting $15,000 to $20,000 a month in monthly recurring revenue. And guess what? Everything that we have done in her business has been with the sole goal of building monthly recurring revenue. We got rid of a few of her offers in her offer suite, not all of them. We got rid of a few of them. We restructured her funnels, her pricing, her marketing, everything we did. We restructured it with the goal of building monthly recurring revenue, and it works. But it has taken time, and we have done so again with the sole focus of building that monthly recurring revenue. And it is very easy to get shiny object syndrome, not just because we live in today's world with all the different things that are going on, but when you are selling that monthly recurring revenue offer, again, oftentimes that upfront payment that is coming in is less than what you could have made if you were selling a one-time payment somewhere else, like into a course, for example, or into a program. So it is very easy to get distracted, especially, if you're maybe launching this one-time payment offer and you had this really big launch and it's really, really great. And then you're like, oh, maybe I should just like double down and focus on that, because it's not as sexy as getting that one time 40 or the $47 payment that's coming in from this one person, and not really, like, again, sitting with and looking at the compounding power of what that does over time. We oftentimes just look at, again, that $47 offer, but it's like, it's not just that $47 a month payment. It's that, and then the next person who comes in, 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 and then them staying for 1 month and 2 months and 3 months and 4 months and 5 months and 6 months. And that is where you are able to build a really sustainable business. And that's where you're able to really stack to those higher income months because you're not starting each month off from scratch. So, my homework for you today is to ask yourself if your marketing efforts are aligned with your monthly recurring revenue goals, because my guess is that they are not. And then figuring out what is one thing that you can do literally today to make sure that you start to focus more on building that monthly recurring revenue.